Good morning. Welcome to this week's positive habit. I'm always just so happy to be here with you and Rosie, of course, and to help you start your week smiling, to start your week feeling resilient, strong, positive, but also to help you start your week feeling whatever it is that you feel, and to bring a sense of compassion towards that. So we can feel perhaps a little bit on edge, overwhelmed. Mondays can certainly do that for people in terms of the week ahead, in terms of maybe there's something, a presentation, a meeting, maybe it's a personal matter, something that could be causing you to feel a little bit uneasy. Or maybe that's not the case at all. But either way, cultivating self-compassion is something that is going to be paramount to your positive mental health. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit more. But before I do, and as I always do, let's drop into a lovely grounding meditation. So with your feet on the ground, with your shoulders back, and just that gentle little movement with the two hands to really stretch the shoulders apart and then to drop them down, to close the eyes and to feel the expanse across the chest. To start to breathe deeply and to feel the sense of space that arises when you give yourself permission to start your week in stillness. To take this time for yourself and to begin the process of really cultivating self-compassion and what that means for you. Can you offer yourself the same kindness that you give to others this week? Can you hold your own hand when you need it most? Can you reassure yourself in the moments that you may doubt? Can you remember to breathe deeply should you feel yourself overwhelmed or stressed or anxious? Perhaps the kindest thing that you can do is to take a really deep and conscious breath, to break through the noise of thoughts, to break the pattern of conditioned beliefs and habitual ways of thinking and feeling, to come home to the now, this eternal place where there is an abundance of love, of light, where there is space for all of you. Space for your strengths, space for your flaws, space to be human. So as your week unfolds, keep coming back to this intention of offering compassion to yourself. And what you'll notice, and what is true, is the more self-compassion you cultivate, the more you have to give to others. So when you're ready, we'll close this meditation with a deep breath. So breathing in, reaching the top, hold the breath, open up the eyes, and then exhale fully. Namaste. Thank you. So I am going to be doing some online training, live online training in this area of self-compassion. It's something that I suppose you could say over the many years of clinical experience that I have noticed is something that many people do struggle with. I think that we understand it intellectually. We know what it means. We can understand the words to offer compassion to ourselves. However, quite often it is in the moments that we need it most, when we're suffering most, emotionally, physically, mentally. Maybe it's a particular challenge that we're going through. It's in those moments that we tend to deprive ourselves of that very much needed compassion. I want to explore a few different things in the course, quite a few. It's a large area, really. And a lot of the work will be based on the principles of Kristin Neff, who is one of the leading, if not the leading researcher internationally on this area. This is her earlier book. She has one since then, but this book is really a very good, strong foundation. Self-compassion, the proven power of being kind to yourself. And Kristin Neff, she defines self-compassion as, with self-compassion, we give ourselves the same kindness and care we would give to a good friend. So I'll be basing the training on this and her 4 different principles, where she looks at self-kindness, she looks at the idea of mindfulness, and she looks at the idea of collective, a feeling of how we all collectively feel something, and how when we do that, we really release a lot of pressure on ourselves when we realize that we're not alone. So it's 3 areas, and the third one that I mentioned there earlier is mindfulness. So the way that I work is always to commence in a place of presence. So I'll be starting the training with presence in mind. I'll be starting with really clearing the space and connecting to yourself, so that you can actually examine the relationship you have and to understand how compassionate are you. I want to explore the 2 different types of compassion, and this has been kind of a revelation to me personally as well, is the difference between yin and yang compassion. So the yin compassion is one that we tend to kind of think of more, that softer, kind of more maternal kindness, which is really, really important, definitely. But then there's the yang compassion, and that's where there's perhaps more motivating force of self-belief that you can do this. There's a sense of agency that comes with it, and it can be so helpful. So I'm going to explore all of that, and I want to help you to understand, perhaps on a personal level, which area do you need more of? Is it yin? Is it yang? What did you receive more of as a child? Because that can also have an impact on where you are today. So with that in mind, I want you to just examine and notice yourself as you go through this week. And notice, are there places, opportunities for you to offer that kindness to yourself, to notice how you are actually speaking to yourself in your own mind, the thoughts that you have. And you've heard it before, but it's always really good to cut through the noise, to cut through that criticism, and to say, would I say this to a good friend? Would I speak to anybody else like this? And indeed, especially, would I speak to somebody who was suffering like this and who needed my help? So keep that in mind, and hopefully I would really, really love to see you on my online training. The details are in this newsletter. So I'm sending you so much love. Have a brilliant week, and I will see you here next week. Bye.